A very good morning to our honorable guest speaker, distinguished audience, and respected participants. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Geetanjali Narayanan, a senior lecturer from the Department of TESOL at the Faculty of Education, University Technology Mara, UITM, and I'm honored to be the moderator for today's webinar. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome everyone to the EDU Teach webinar series organized by the Faculty of Education, University Technology Mara, UITM. Today's webinar topic is Dynamic Online Instruction for Higher Learning, featuring our honorable speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Azida Abuzidin, the Deputy Director of the Center for Development of Academic Excellence, CDAE, at University Science Malaysia, USM. Our program will commence with a prayer recital in the Islamic faith by Mr. Ahmad Fahim Zulkifli from the Department of Physical and Health Education, the Faculty of Education of UITM. Mr. Ahmad Fahim.
Thank you, Dr. Gita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good morning to all. Al-Fatiha. Bismillah. Bismillah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Oh Allah, on this glorious day, in conjunction with EDU Teach webinar, Dynamic Online Instruction for Higher Learning before us, we uphold our hand to pray fervently. Thank you for your infinite favors, so we can live in peace and harmony to perform our tasks as your servant. Grant us your blessing to make this event a rousing success and meaningful for us and others. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, you are the most merciful, Lord of all creation. We seek refuge in you from the pandemic and all diseases in the world. We ask of you strength to win against the unseen illnesses, knowledge that are beneficial, indeed, which are blessed and accepted by you. O Allah, help us to remember and thank you, and to worship you in our best of manners. Forgive us, guide us, give us vigor, and grant us immeasurable sustenance. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ridhaka wal jannah wa a'udzu bika min sakhatika wan nar. Allahumma inna fil baras wal junud wal juzab wa min sayyi'il askar. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun 'alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad Fahim Zulkifli, for reciting the dua. I have a few housekeeping notes to make before we continue with today's program. Training hours will be provided for this webinar for all UITM staff. Participants can type your questions in the comment section on YouTube. The Secretariat will share the questions with the speaker. The e-certificate is provided for all participants. Please make sure you stay until the end of the program to sign your attendance through the attendance link that will be provided in the comment section before the end of the webinar session. And a feedback link will also be shared from time to time in the comment section. We really appreciate your feedback, as it would be useful for future improvements of the webinar series. Esteemed audience, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce our honorable guest speaker for today. Associate Professor Dr. Azida Abuzidin is a senior lecturer in the School of Educational Studies at University Science Malaysia, USM. She is currently the Deputy Director for the Center for Development of Academic Excellence, CDAE, of USM. Her research interests are in instructional design, e-learning and m-learning, educational technology, ICT and multimedia, and 21st century learning. As a national e-learning master trainer, she conducts training for lecturers, educators in the area of instructional design, e-learning approaches and tools, and new approaches in teaching and learning nationally and internationally. Dr. Azida is the recipient for the prestigious National Academic Award, Anugerah Akademik Negara 2017 for the Teaching Award. She was awarded Anugerah Ketokohan in 2017 as well, an honorable award by USM. She was also the recipient of the Gold Award for Best Learning Model, blended in LearnX Impact Award 2018 in Melbourne, Australia. Dr. Azida has been appointed as an MQA assessor in ICT, Multimedia and ODL since 2011. With a passion for teaching and sharing, her vast experience in educational technology and e-learning, as well as her innovative and visionary thinking, Associate Professor Dr. Azida Abuzidin is the perfect scholar to address today's topic. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Associate Professor Dr. Azida Abuzidin to present her talk on the topic Dynamic Online Instruction for Higher Learning. Over to you, Prof.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, everybody. How are you all today? Thank you, Dr. Gita, our moderator for today. I would like to say thank you to UiTM, Faculty of Education, UiTM, for inviting me for this webinar series this morning. All right, so let me just share my screen first. Okay. All right. So today I'm going to share with you all about a dynamic online instruction for higher education. So I think during this pandemic COVID-19, everybody had to embark on online learning, and we have to do online instruction to our students, and most of us were not really trained, were really before the pandemic to actually teach online. Okay, and we found that it is very hard for us to actually adopt to online teaching and learning. Our students are not prepared to the online instruction, although we have been in the online learning for more than 1 year now. We are still thinking on how actually we can improve our online instruction to our students. All right, so for today's webinar, I would like to share with you all, okay, if I can actually, on how to make your online instruction as active and dynamic as it was when we did it face to face. All right, so during face to face, we met our students, we have our classroom, we can interact, we can engage our students as much as we want to. All right, we can do various activities, but the online learning can make it limited. Okay, we can try to actually make it active, make it dynamic, but sometimes we found that it was really hard. It was quite hard for us to make our student be active, our teaching be dynamic, because of the online environment. Sometimes because our students are at home, we found that they are not really active because of their internet connectivity, whereby they have problems to on their camera, okay, to on, so they were like non-exist in our online classroom because they kept quiet in during the online instruction. So that was actually most of us have been feeling during the online instruction. And also I will try to guide you on how to prepare yourself as an online instructor. Okay, as this week, this month, October, I think the public universities in Malaysia is starting their online class. Okay, most of us are still having our online classes, and we in USM we are having our online classes starting 25th of October. So we have some students coming back to campus, but many of our students will be out there at their own home. All right, so how to prepare yourself actually to be the online instructors, okay? And then to prepare ourselves, okay, it is much more easier because we can actually plan, but we also need to prepare our students, okay? We cannot prepare only ourselves to be online instructors without preparing our students to be self-directed learners in online learning environment. Okay, it is very important as we prepare ourselves as online instructor, we also prepare our students. Okay, if we don't prepare our students, they won't understand, okay, what we are going to do, how we are going to interact in our online class. Okay, so that's why we need to prepare our students as well. Okay, they won't prepare. Some of them are self-motivated, so they can the self-motivated students are preparing themselves, but most of them are not ready, still not ready. They are hoping that they can come back to the campus and learn via face-to-face. Okay, all right, so fact of online learning. First, it is here to stay. All right. Although now we are still, we can see that the numbers of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia are going down, but still, we in future, I think online learning is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Whether you think that, okay, after the COVID-19 ended, we can actually do our class face to face. However, online learning is here to stay. We can actually do blended later on, okay, blended face to face plus online, but not totally face to face. And then fact of online learning number 2, most of us, okay, we as lecturers, as educators, as teachers, most of us are struggling with online learning. Okay, I think yeah, I am also struggling with online learning, although I'm the expert, so can be considered experts in online learning, but still I found it's really hard to engage my student. I have to try various activities, various engagement with my students so that they will be able to learn online. And as we the lecturers are struggling with online learning, our students are also struggling. Okay, not only us, but they are struggling. And sometimes we found problem that they don't know that we the lecturers are also struggling. Okay, they think that, okay, this lecturer they don't know how to teach, they don't know how to use technology, their technical skills in using online learning are bad, because sometimes we lost the lecturers. Okay, their connection is really bad, and so on. They keep on commenting, they keep on actually uh, 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 saying something like the lecturers are not good in their online teaching. So our students might not know that we are also struggling to teach online. Okay, All right. So actually in USM we conducted a survey in December 2020 to 7,000 plus students, and then the main thing that we found uh, that what the students say, lecturers were not skillful to provide good online learning experience to them. All right. These are the from our students in USM, and then we actually conducted a few weeks ago, we conducted another survey to USM students, and still they think that the lecturers were not skillful to provide good online learning experiences. Okay, so this is what the students say in USM. All right. So because of that, okay, we actually need to look at our online teaching. All right, the students might not understand the struggle that we have, okay, teaching online. Okay, they think that we are automatically good in teaching. They think that, okay, because they are lecturer, they should know how to teach online, they should know how to do this, they should know how to do that. Okay, but for us, we need to learn. We need to actually review our teaching and learning. Previously, we were teaching on face to face, and then we have to embark on online learning that was alien to us. And then during after April 2020 until now, we still have to do the online learning. We tried so many things, but uh, sometimes we still think that we are still struggling. All right. So that, people said, the students said, the lectures, okay, Dr. Azida is boring. Okay, when she give lectures, when she did her online learning, she always give lectures. Actually, sometimes we don't know what to do. All right, the lectures is the only thing that we might be able to do, because we cannot engage the students, so we engage ourselves to give the lectures. All right. So for next semester, I think I would like to suggest that we give a dynamic and active online learning. So what is a dynamic and active online learning? All right. So it is a shift away from top-down lecturing and passive students. So this what happened for our classes until today. Okay, maybe until today, or maybe we are planning to give lectures for next semesters as well. So we need to go away, shift away from the lectures that we had done online. All right, and our passive students, they did not turn on their camera. Okay, they are muted behind their computer, and only a few students who are actively participate in our class, because we have prepared our slide for 2 hours, for example. Then we have to talk, we have to speak for 2 hours. All right, so shift away from the lecturing online, okay, and the passive students online, to a more interactive, first is interactive, then collaborative approach, and the students as well as we as the instructor co-create the online learning process. All right, so we are going to co-create the online learning process. So make sure that our students are active, we are also active. Not only the lecturers are active, but the students, only a few students are active. All right. Then the concept of active learning encompasses of a wide variety of learning activities. All right. So we need to design and redesign, okay, learning activities whereby our students will engage with the course content. All right, redesign and redesign, and then we also need to package and repackage our teaching and learning activities online. Okay, then students must talk about their learning. Okay, when we are delivering our online teaching, okay, students must actually speak up about what they are learning. We need to know what they are learning. They must write about it. They may write about it somewhere, and then they can relate it to their past experiences and apply it to their daily lives. Okay, they must make what they learn part of themselves. So this is the actually the hardest part. Okay, getting us engaged, getting us doing our part is much more easier, but to get the students to engage in the learning activities are much more harder. Okay, so we need to actually create and design the activity so that the students must pick up, they must actively involve in the learning process. Okay, so can we actually design the dynamic online learning? Okay, so if let's say you are in front of your computer now, okay, you are the instructor, you are not going to do the talking, but the students that is in front of you, they are going to speak, they are going to do the activity, they are going to be the focus of the online teaching. Okay, so we are here in front of the computer, but we are going to listen, we are going to support, we are going to provide guidance. Okay, but everything can be done by our students. We must design that. All right, and we have to. Okay, if not, we are going to repeat what we have done during last semesters. All right, and we are going to start with the boring. Okay, and student will say that the online experiences were not that good because the online lectures, the lecturers did not provide good online learning experiences. So the dynamic online learning need to be designed. It won't occur by itself, okay, by using the, for example, WebEx, Zoom, and so on. All right, so this was previously done in my training, yeah, because today we are using YouTube, so I found it quite difficult for us to do some online activity. However, all right, this was in USM, and the lecturers, some of the lecturers say they are okay. Okay, they think that they are okay. Some of them say that they were happy teaching online, but some of them also mentioned about being exhausted, lonely, and they also need. They also ask whether can we have face to face back. They would like to teach face to face. I think, you know, as an online instructor, for me, I think I would like to go back to face to face because it is quite lonely. Okay, it is quite lonely when we don't interact with our student, and when our students keep quiet out there, and it is like talking to the computer by ourselves. Okay, so but before, okay, after we have done this around 3 semesters teaching online, if let's say you are still struggling, you should know how to do the transition to from face to face to online class. We don't just do whatever we do. We give lectures in our lecture hall and transform it into online by giving lectures online. We shouldn't do that. All right, because it is different. The online environment is different. Our students might be sitting in their room, okay, alone. Okay, they don't feel they don't hear the sound of their friends unless their friends were unmuted. But then they ask the friend to mute themselves because it will be noisy. Compared to if you are in a lecture hall, you know, the sound is when the teachers ask question, you will get reply immediately, or you can actually pinpoint to somebody. Okay, but it is different, totally different in the online class. Okay, so we should know how to how to transition from to online class, because most of us, yeah, okay, everybody are now doing 100% online class, and even teachers at home, teachers, right? Although a few days, Monday, some of the students had gone back to school, right? But mostly about 90% are still at home, okay, doing online classes. All right. So how do you transition to online class? How do you actually move to the online class? First, okay, you can still follow the syllabus. Okay, we have to follow the syllabi, uh, uh, but you need to rethink. Okay, rethink and reconfigure the materials that you have. Okay, so how are you going to do lectures? Firstly, because most of us were doing lectures, okay, you might do some activities in the classroom, in the face-to-face classroom, and then most of all, we had done quizzes, we had done assessment, all right, uh, in our face-to-face class. However, in the online learning, we need to actually tweak or replace, okay, because the nature of the environment, the online environment is different. So you might not be able to do the same assessment with your students. They might not be able to discuss the same thing, the same types of discussion in online compared to face. So all the lectures, the activities, the tutorial, the assessment need to be tweaked or to be replaced, okay, in the online environment. Also, okay, this is important. Okay, this is important whereby online courses tend to be shorter. All right. For example, 6 or 8 weeks than face-to-face class. Okay, this is what we have done wrong. Okay, because what we did was, because of before the pandemic, we have our weekly timetable. Every week for class A, B, C 1 to 3, we have a 2 hours lecture and 1 hour tutorial, and we repeat that in our online class, whereby every week we follow the same schedule. All right. So that's why our students were felt that they were very, the class, the timetables had burdened them so much because they have to attend various class 3 hours straight online and then continue with other courses. And then, the parents were complaining about their children are not going out from their room because of they said that they are having classes. All right. So um in online classes, okay, the class, why we say it tend to be shorter, because the synchronous class, the synchronous face-to-face online meeting via Webex, via Zoom, or via Google Meet, we can minimize that. Okay, we can minimize our synchronous class. Even MQA also allow that. All right. Afterwards, I'm going to introduce you to ODL, whereby the features of ODL can be implemented during our online class next semester. All right. Okay. So no need to actually have your class or your weekly class according to the timetable. All right, that is exhaustive to us as well as to our students. All right, and then um, this will impact the course overall structure, meaning that you have to plan. If let's say you have your course weekly every week, then you have to actually redesign. Okay, when are you going to have the synchronous class? When are you going to do the asynchronous class? What are you going to have? What activities are you going to conduct during the synchronous class, and what are the activities are you going to do for your asynchronous class. That need to be designed, okay? And then participants' requirement will likely to be entirely different, okay? We don't take attendance anymore, all right? Attendance is not necessary while we are having online class, maybe because our students are not having good internet connection. They cannot connect to the online classes. So if let's say they are struggling to connect with the internet, they won't be able to participate in the synchronous class. So how are you going to actually design this so that the participation requirement will be different, but the student will still engage and participate in the activity that we design for the class. All right, so that need to be actually designed. We as the instructor need to redesign our course. Okay, that is the first thing that we need to do when we are transitioning to online class. All right, and then um, even materials, okay, the materials that we have prepared for our students while we were teaching face to face will be different in different format, okay, when we make it as online learning. All right, so for example, if you have 1 hour class lectures, we can speak 1 hour like I'm doing now. All right, I can speak for 2 hours, but for our classes, okay, for recorded lectures, please do make it as micro video so that it is recorded in 10 to 20 minute segments only, but preferably around 10 minutes should be enough. All right, meaning that don't do your class. I think this happen all the time, whereby the lecturer say, okay, it's okay, you if you cannot enter our webex session because I will record this. Okay, I will share the recorded video to you later on for those who are not able to be online in the synchronous class. So what the lecturers, the instructors do, they just, okay, when the recorded version of the lectures are ready, they just share the link with the students. All right, so imagine if your class was 2 hours, okay, and you share the 2 hours lectures to the student, and they are listening to the 2 hours lecture with all the interaction or non-interaction within the synchronous class, then it will be a worse experience to our students. So please do avoid sharing the recorded 2 hours or 1 hour lecture with your student without editing the video, that the recordings. All right, so please avoid that. All right, and then you and me and everybody who are teaching online, you need to be an ODL instructor. All right, what is an ODL instructor? Open distance learning. All right, if let's see your university are having an ODL programs, being an ODL instructor will be different from the usual instructor, the face-to-face instructor. They should be ready. For us that will be teaching in online classes, we also need to prepare ourselves as an online instructor. Okay, so let us be an ODL instructor. Okay, we must be ready. So next semester, prepare ourselves to be an ODL instructor. Although maybe some of our students will be back in campus, but still we have to teach our students online. So what is ODL? Okay, before you become an ODL instructor, you need to know what is ODL, open distance learning. All right. In ODL, usually, okay, in an ODL program, the teachers, the instructors will be not in the same place, and they might not be at the same time. All right. So teachers and learners are separated in different place and maybe different time zone as well. Okay. So in this system, it is not possible for us to have a synchronous, a weekly synchronous class, because maybe because of the time limitation, the where the students are, and so on. So when we consider these different features of ODL, then we will consider, oh, our student, they might not have internet, or they might be working. Okay, because in ODL, why we have this ODL system? Because our students might be working somewhere. They might be a frontliner, for example. So that's why we are being flexible. All right. So we in ODL, ODL is a very flexible learning system, and then in terms of modalities and timing of teaching and learning. All right, this is important for us to know before we become an ODL instructor. All right, so this is a way of learning remotely, okay, without being in regular face-to-face contact with the instructor in the classroom, meaning that you will not be meeting your students regularly. You might be meeting them in asynchronous class, or asynchronous discussion, or asynchronous activity, without regularly meeting them in the classroom. Classroom can mean in the WebEx, synchronous class in the Google Meet. Okay, you won't be meeting them regularly in the classroom. Okay, and then the most important thing is about the flexibility, all right, of studying from anywhere, anytime, over the internet. All right, why do I suggest you all to be an ODL instructor? Because it offers flexible schedule. Don't you think you were really tired, exhausted last 3 semesters because we were doing online learning? Not only the students were tired, we were also tired sitting in front of our computer, all right, all the time. If let's say we have 8 to 5, we were sitting in front of our computer teaching, as well as our meetings and so on. All right, so our class, synchronous class, we might have around 6 to 10 hours per week class, like in USM, yeah. Maybe in UITM you have more because you are teaching university, so maybe you have more hours in front of your computers teaching. All right, in USM we have 6 to 10 hours. All right, maybe some of us who really likes teaching, then they have more than 10 hours per week. All right, so if let's say you have 10 hours of teaching per week, plus your meetings, plus your other tasks, doing publication, for me, I'm giving trainings every week. I have trainings to USM lecturers, to other lecturers, and to many individuals. So flexible schedule will actually help me in terms of my classes. So that's why I have in my class, I have flexible schedule. I do a lot of asynchronous class. When I meet my students, I don't do lectures, but we did activities that will actually engage the students. All right, because I am teaching a master students. All right, they are teachers, mostly they are teachers part time, who do part time um masters, and we have Doctor of Education, whereby we have uh, educators from various universities, colleges, and so on. They are pursuing their doctorate in education, and they are doing it by coursework. So we can see that, if let's say they are working full time, but they are doing their they study part time, when they enter our class at 5 p.m. every week, they actually already exhausted. All right, so flexible schedule will help them to be much more ready for their class. All right, and then learn at own pace, meaning that our students can learn at their own pace. All right, we don't fix that, okay, you need to do this today, tonight. All right, so we give them time to do um, what they need to do in our course. And then we give multiple ways to communicate with our students. All right, they can communicate with us using various ways. Okay, WhatsApp, Telegram, or for me, I prefer to use the LMS, our LMS, eLearn at USM, to communicate with my students. Okay, they can contact me using WhatsApp, but sometimes, because sometimes, let's say I'm giving training for 2 hours, my WhatsApp will be very full. So I prefer them to actually look at the LMS. LMS is the main platform where my students communicate with me asynchronously. All right, if they have urgent things to ask me, then they can WhatsApp me. But if not, just communicate within the LMS. All right, and then the students can review course materials repeatedly. That's why we don't allow, actually. If, I don't, for me, I think you shouldn't share the 2 hours synchronous class recording with your students, because they cannot repeatedly watch the recordings, because it was, for example, 2 hours. So how can they repeatedly uh, watch the recordings? 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, that is too much. All right, that's why if you like to share, then you need to edit that particular recording. And then it also uh, help to develop self-discipline for us, the instructor, as well as the students. All right, when we talk about students, we are talking about self-directed learners. When they are self-directed learners, they are going to develop their self-discipline. They will actually arrange time for themselves to set time. Okay, when are they going to review the course materials? Okay, during the day, they will have the time management. Okay, I will start my reviewing my class at 9 a.m. every day. Before that, I'm going to help my mom to prepare to do the house chores and so on. And then I'm going to take 3 hours to look at of my time to look at the course material in the MS and do all the activities. All right. So students in ODL, they have this self-discipline. We have to actually train them to be a self-directed leaders. This will be our task, the lecturers. When we have um, trained them to be the self-directed learners, then it will be easier for us to monitor them. All right. And then before you start to be the ODL instructor, what you need to do is first plan your delivery. How to plan your delivery? Start from today. All right. For example, maybe public university will start next week, or the week after next week for our classes. So what are you going to do in your first class, during your first class? This is important. All right, plan your delivery. I'm going to meet my students next week on Wednesday. So what am I going to do in the first class? What activity am I going to do? Then, okay, so that will be next week. But the week after next week and the week after that, what am I going to do? All right, plan your delivery for the whole semester. All right, divide the asynchronous and synchronous learning. When are you going to do the synchronous? When are you going to do the asynchronous? If let's say you are going to do an asynchronous learning, which topic? How do you justify which topic are you going to use synchronous and which topic will you do asynchronous? Or you might be doing both in asynchronous and synchronous, maybe because it is a very tough subject, a tough topic. Maybe first you need to prepare the video. Then you need to arrange for synchronous class because the topic might be hard, so you need to give some more support to the students so that they have, if they have questions about the topic, they have queries, they can ask you live. Okay, meaning that you must prepare some activities for synchronous. So you need to plan. It is important for you to plan, not just follow. You have the topics for the whole semester. Okay, this week I have topic A, so you just put it like that, and then you don't design what you are going to deliver the whole semester. Then that would be a problem. Then you will end up giving lectures and without any activities. Think of the topic and what are the activities that are relevant to that particular topic. It is important for you to plan. And then because we are going to do it online, all right, we are going to do it online, so you must try to use wide variety of technology. All right, so technologies, there are various technology out there, but if you don't know how to use the technology to support your course or your teaching, then it won't actually help. Okay, so but technology can actually bridge the divide, all right, because of the physical separation of the learners from the teachers, because our learners are at home. All right, we are, if let's say we have synchronous class, we are going to just meet them online. All right, so try to use various technology. Even the breakout rooms in Webex or Zoom is much better than not using it at all. All right, so we have now actually in USM we are conducting. This is our second week conducting the khusus pengajaran, the PMP, Teaching and Learning course for the new lecturers of USM. We have 43 of them now. Okay, we have another session, a Webex session for our because my center is actually conducting this PMP teaching and learning courses for the new lecturers. So uh, I remember on Monday when one of the instructor, one of the facilitator asked the lecturers, do you know, okay, first of all this morning I would like you all to try to test your knowledge, your skill about breakout rooms in Webex. All right, breakout rooms Webex. So what happened was half of the new lecturers, around 20, they have problems to go into the Webex breakout rooms. They might be able to go in, but they don't know how to go out of the breakout room. So that is actually similar to our students. But they are digital natives. They might be technology savvy, much better than the lecturers. Okay, most of the lecturers, because we have new lecturers who are also digital natives, but most of us like me, I am digital immigrants. So the digital immigrants lecturers are much more slower in terms of technology. But in ODL technology, we actually help to support lecturers in terms of supporting how they deliver the teaching and learning. All right. And then apply variety of teaching and learning approaches. All right. So if you are not well versed in various teaching approaches, you need to learn about that, because for example, how are you going to do role play? Have you done role play in your class face to face? Okay, some of us never tried to use role play in our face-to-face classes. So how are we going to use it in our online class? All right. If let's say, I think in law, for example, you have your mahkamah session, court session, and so on. All right. So in role play, if you are going to do role play, you are going to look at one students will be the lawyer, one student will be the defendant, one student will be the suspect, whatever. All right. So that students will be uh, divided into different roles. You will give them different roles during the classroom, during the face-to-face class, and they will act like magistrate and so on. All right. But in online teaching, you can also do that, but with different types of roles that you can give. Even you can use digital storytelling. You can also use TikTok, for example. All right. So I think our students, they are into TikTok. So how are you going to use TikTok to actually provide role play in your teaching, for example? So maybe one student use TikTok to be a lawyer, one student will be using TikTok for another role, and so on. So then they will combine the TikTok become a video, so that they will actually produce a scenario of what you are going to teach them. All right, that is how technology can help. All right, so try to apply variety of teaching and learning approach that can engage your student. All right. We always engage ourselves in teaching, but we don't engage our students to learn. All right. And then online classes require you to spend your time differently, and then also use different skill sets to teach content. All right. So your time in preparing the student task, the student activity will be different. Okay, because you have to prepare in advance. All right, and really look at the time, really look at the tools to be used, and then you have to try that. All right. And don't worry about getting it wrong. Okay, sometimes we say, oh, I don't know, I've never used TikTok before and I don't think I can do it. Okay, actually you don't have to do that. You don't have to even create your TikTok account, but your students will do that. They are going to have the TikTok account, they are going to do whatever you ask them to do, then they will produce it to you. So you don't even have to sign up for TikTok. Your students will do that. All right. The skill sets, you need to actually think about, okay, if TikTok, what am I going to do with TikTok? Your skill set is different. You should know different technology, different types of apps. Okay, you might not be able to use chat because you might not have time to explore, but okay, you need to know the purpose. Okay, for example, for to use to you to give tasks to your students. Okay, you want them to make a mind maps. All right, collaborative mind maps. Okay, so you yourself might not been using any mind maps tool before. It's okay, don't worry about that. You don't have to use that, but go Google My Maps tool. All right. Then you will find different pages saying that 7 best My Maps tools. Right. So go and read. Okay, which one is the most preferred one, and so on. So you have the knowledge about that my maps tools. But if let's say you have time, you can explore one of the my maps tool. But if you don't have time, you just watch video and so on, then you know what you are going to do, what activities are you going to do related to the mind maps, and you can ask your student to explore more about the tools, not you. We don't have time to explore, but our students can actually explore that. They can actually teach us how to use the technology tools. They are much more faster. We might be slower compared to our students, so don't really try. You can try if you like. If you are into technology like me, I always try new things, all right, new technology. But if you think that you are slow, sometimes you say, okay, I always, when I do training, some of the lecturers say, sorry, Dr. Azida, I don't think I will be able to, learn this as fast as you can. And I said, it's okay. No need to be worried about not having to use anything, any technology tools, but at least you know, and you know how to give instruction for your student to explore that particular technology tools, then that would be sufficient enough for you to actually provide them with activities related to that particular technology tools. The important thing that is, you know that tools is available. Okay, you know that it can actually deliver what you like your students to engage in, then it should be okay. All right, so then you have to plan. All right, whatever you do, you need to plan. All right, that's why you are going to spend your time differently. All right, you have to plan, okay, which apps, which tools is suitable to be used by the students. All right, will this tool actually help for my students to be able to achieve the learning outcomes. All right, and then my learning objective are these. So what am I going to do? What activities that suits the engagement, the online learning engagement that can actually achieve these learning objectives. All right, and then will they be able to do this within 1 week? Okay, not 1 hour, but 1 week, for example. All right. So I always remind lecturers, educators that the use of LMS is quite important in your online learning. If your institution have the learning management system such as e-learning Moodle, for example, Blackboard, whatever, the use of the platform is really important in terms of, because our students are enrolled in that particular LMS, we are the teachers. So for example, in Moodle, the teachers can actually access the learning analytics of the students. It is important because, as I mentioned earlier, we are not going to take attendance of our students anymore, but we are going to um, count their participation in our course, meaning that we are going to look at their participation through the learning analytics in our LMS. Okay, you need to know how to view their participation, how many times they actually view the video, for example, how many times they need to try to do the assessment, the self-evaluation, the self-learning activities. So you can actually view that in the learning analytics in your LMS. Okay, some of us, they don't know. You don't know that, that is the purpose of learning analytics in the LMS. You don't know actually to actually view. Okay, if you click the student's name, you will know when will be the last time they access the LMS or the content and so on. You need to know that. All right. And then select and plan learning objective that can be delivered asynchronously. Okay, in ODL, meaning that how can you plan uh, these particular learning objectives that can be delivered asynchronously. via video. For example, discussion, mind maps, infographic, podcast, etc. And then you need to plan your activities so that you don't burden yourself. Okay, first of all, don't burden yourself, because we are going to, for example, if let's say you give assignment that for example, my class, I always have per semester, maybe in this one course I have 100 plus of students, sometimes nearly 200. So don't actually plan assessment that you need to mark, okay, every week. All right, so if you, let's say, you give them discussion, okay, you say, you give a question, okay, I need you all to discuss this in the online discussion, in the forum, in the LMS. All right, so let's say you have 100 students, and one student logged in and answered the online discussion twice. So you will have to review 200 discussion. And if you give this question, the discussion um, twice, okay, twice, every week, for example, then you will have problem in terms of marking. Or let's say you have you give them to do essay, whatever, you will burden yourself. So in ODL, we are looking at self-evaluation. All right, self-evaluation, they can evaluate themselves, self-assessment, as well as we are looking at self-learning activities. Example, if I think you ITM also use Moodle. If you are using Moodle, you use H5P, for example. Okay, H5P, whereby they can view video, you can prepare them video, you can put some assessment or self-evaluation, self-learning activity inside the H5P. That will be much easier for you. Okay, they won't burden you. And then you don't also burden your students in learning online. Why? Because I think as I mentioned earlier, yeah, during our survey in USM, most of the student in open-ended courses, open-ended question in our survey, they mentioned about there are too many assignments, overlapping due dates and so on. We think that we were very stressful because of the assignment given by various lecturers. Okay, so you will burden yourself as well as you are burdening your students. Okay, this is important, because with synchronous class, with a lot of activities and so on, it will actually not helping you, and it won't help your students as well. All right, as you begin to plan your online class, all right, for this coming few weeks lah, okay, don't ask what am I going to do, what am I going to do in the online class. Okay, don't ask that, but ask, what do I want my students to be able to do with the content. All right, with the content. So you provide the students with the content. Okay, you provide videos, you provide readings, you provide other resources. Okay, so what my students will be able to do with the content I have provided. You provide all this in your LMS. For example, you provide a video. Okay, you develop a video, and then you do some readings, and then you have other resources. Then what will the student will be able to do? All right, so try to ask yourself, okay, with this content, will students be able to debate it? All right, and then will they be able to analyze it? All right, so how are they going to evaluate the content that I have provided? right? How are they going to solve problem? They can use the content, and then maybe the content is a case study. So let's say you give them a scenario, for example. So scenario, and then there are problem embedded in that particular case study. So how are they going to present it to you? Okay, to present the problem solving methods to you. So are you going to ask them to type in essay? Oh, no. For me, I don't like that, because I am burdening myself. Okay, I will be burdening myself to read all the essay. So how am I going to get them show me how to solve the problem? So you have to think of various tools. Maybe, okay, how about them discuss it by using podcasts. All right, for example, they are going to record their voice, okay, and then they are going to present it, and their friends will review the podcast, and then the students will be able to, you give the students rubric, okay, they will actually choose the best solution to the problem. Then you are going to review only 5 of the solutions, and then you will choose one the best, all right, based on, there is a stage whereby when you have many students, you won't be able to review all, but you can ask, when you can do peer review, your students, their friends will review all the content, and then it will help you not to burden yourself, as well as you won't be burdening the students. All right, and then how the students will be able to extend it to new contexts, all right, how they can apply it to real world and so on, all right, or how are they going to create something new. This is what you need to think before you start your online class next semester, yeah. Not you just think, okay, saya nak ajar apa? What am I going to teach? Okay, you are not going to teach, but you are going to make your student active in your online class. So these are some of my suggestion on what sorts of activities that you should assign in your online class. All right, so there are many activities, but it needs you to be creative in terms of connecting the activities with your content, because you are the expert. All right, you are expert in your area. You know what is the most important content, what are the hardest content, what your students need to know, what their students need to do if, let's say, if they you like them to achieve the course learning outcome. So activities can vary, all right. uh, it can also vary, depends of disciplines. Throughout my trainings in many institutions, I received many questions about, Dr. Azida, your area is different from my area. I come from engineering. I don't think I can do this, because my area is different. I have to do this hands-on thing. How am I going to do it online? All right. So yes, I do agree with, different course discipline will have different activities. All right, but you need to look at your course learning outcomes and try to think, how am I going to design this so that my students will achieve the learning outcomes. All right, and then course level. 100 course level might not be similar activity with the 400 levels course. Okay, and then what are the goals of the courses, and then but all right, you can actually provide students with new information, for example. All right, yeah, we usually we go to class, we usually introduce with something new. All right, try to match it with what you do during face to face, what you do when you go in your lecture hall during face to face class. What did you usually do? Do you introduce your students immediately with the new content? All right. So you can do that. It is not wrong. Okay. But maybe you want to improvise something from there. All right. Because it is online. Are you going to like introduce in 1 hour? Oh, they might be too much because the students, you don't know what they are doing behind the computer. So you might give them a shorter video uh, or some scenario so that they will be able to actually think of the new information that they receive. All right. And then engage with information ideas. You might just come to the WebEx class, your Zoom class, and say, okay, I have this reading, yeah. I have this reading, a 3 pages reading PDF. I would like you to read, okay, and then I'm going to give you into I'm going to divide you into 6 breakout rooms. So you need to read and then discuss in your room and then present it back to me. All right. And then, but I would like to see how you discuss your collaborative discussion in Google presentation, for example, Google slide. Okay, so I would like the slide that can be accessed by me by at the end of this session. All right, so give them proper instruction. And then you might want your student to reflect on their learning. So how are they going to be able to spend their reflect on what they have learned. Okay, I think that most of us, some of us have never tried to do reflection for their students. Okay, they might wait for the end of the semester a teaching assessment, but I would like you to suggest to you all, okay, please spend the last 5 minutes of your synchronous class for your students to give reflection, feedback on the class that you have done earlier. All right, you can actually ask them to do in many things. In Padlet, for example, all right, just ask them to anonymously give feedbacks and reflects to what you have done in the online teaching. So it will actually help them in terms of pondering on what they have learned, as well as it will help you to actually reflect, okay, today I have been using this type of teaching, this type of learning approach. So what did my student think about that? All right. So it is important of the reflection at the end of the class. All right. So these are some, one of the example, yeah, on how not to bore your students. This is by my Prof. Karim. Okay, he is my boss here in the center. All right. So let's say you are doing your class. Okay, your online class. All right. So you start your class. Okay, you might give them activity. Okay, you might give them some quiz, just a simple quiz for your students to do. All right, ask simple question for 5 minutes, and then you might want to give some lecture or some introduction or whatever. All right, make it around 15 minutes only. Okay, don't do too much. I know we are lecturers, we like to speak, we like to talk in our class, but make it just make it simpler for 5 minutes. All right, let them focus for 15 minutes. That is the maximum time. All right, then you have an activity, again another activity for 10 minutes, so that your student will be engaged. Try to do breakout rooms or try to do Google form, whatever you can do, all right, Padlet, or ask them to record Flipgrid and so on for 10 minutes, so that they know, you know that they are there. Okay, Flipgrid is one of the good immediate feedbacks or a response from students that they can upload, then you can see it immediately. All right, and then do another lecture around 15 minutes. All right, and then you have an assessment around 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so within this time you are going to engage your students, and you can do variety of work activities that your student will be able to do without you monitoring them, meaning that they are there, but the activities will actually end up with something that you can know that the students are doing something. All right. And then remember, all right, remember, you need to communicate in multiple formats. All right, this will engage your students in online learning environment, and then provide active learning opportunities. I think I know that I understand that this will be quite hard actually, because sometimes our students are very quiet. All right, they are very quiet in the online learning, and then sometimes we call their names and they won't respond. They are there, but they don't respond at all, and we don't know. Sometimes I felt that sometimes when we call their name, they are just too quiet. They didn't respond. They were like they were not there, but they are there. All right, and then if you are unable to provide that active learning opportunities, then all right, try to make learning social, meaning that maybe they won't respond to us, but they will respond to their peers. Okay, make the class social, whereby provide social learning activities. All right, our student can be much more responsive to their peers compared to us, the instructor, unless you are you always interact with the students and you will catch their attention. But most probably, if let's say this coming semester you are going to teach semester 1 student who has not been into your class before, so they don't know you at all before this, so you might have problems to get them engaged in the learning activities. They might be afraid, okay, they might be afraid of you, so they will actually respond, but sometimes we don't know what happened at the end, at the back of the computer. And then gamify with badges and certificates. All right, do some gamification in your class. All right, online you can do that. And then this is important, provide timely and useful feedback. From our survey, our second survey in last 3 or 4 weeks, we found that students complain that lecturers did not give them timely and useful feedback. Sometimes they don't receive any feedback of what they asked, okay, meaning that the lecturers kept quiet, okay, or if let's say they respond to their questions, it might be like after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and so on. So it is not useful, because they might have solved the problem, or they think that this lecturer, I don't want to ask him because he won't actually answer my questions. All right, and then add self-assessment opportunities. This is important, because self-assessment will help your students to be able to know whether they learn. Okay, they learn. All right, they will know. Okay, if they cannot answer, they know that okay, I have to actually review back the video, I have to read more so that I will be able to answer the evaluation. But self-assessment also will help you, meaning that you don't have to mark regularly. Markings, it will burden us, so please give self-assessment whereby the student will be able to assess their own learning. All right, and then improve course accessibility for all. Remember, some of your students might not have good internet access, so how are you going to get them to assess the course? All right, that's why I always say that you might want to use your LMS, because it will be asynchronous learning. Don't sometimes we feel guilty. We are not meeting our students that much because we might not have synchronous learning um, every week. But it will actually, asynchronous learning will actually improve course accessibility to our students. They can view video. Okay, our students, they always sleep late at night when most people are sleeping. So at that time their internet might be much better compared to during the day. So if you upload a video in your LMS, and the video will be short videos, yeah, not long videos, then it will be easier for your student to access. All right. And you need to also establish community of inquiry. It is important, yeah. It is important for your students, for you to establish COI, community of inquiry. In online learning, this is very important, whereby you need to have social presence, all right, social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. All right, these are three major um, presence that will provide rich educational experience to the students. As you can see here, these present social, cognitive, teaching presence will actually support this course, setting the climate and selecting the content that will provide rich educational experiences. This is from Garrison and Archer, yeah, 1999. I always use this particular COI framework to actually establish my course delivery. Okay. Teaching present, when we look at the teaching presence, we are looking at the instruction design and the organization of the curriculum. All right, we are the one. Okay, this is our task. We are going to establish the teaching presence to our student, whereby uh, although we might not be teaching, all right, teaching in terms of we teach and teach, but we are going to organize so that what we would like to deliver in the syllabus will be able to be delivered to the students. All right, so you are going to design, you are going to set the curriculum and set the activities so that it will be based on the course syllabus so that the students will learn. All right, and then you are going to be facilitating this course. So you are there, all right. Even it is an asynchronous discussion whereby it won't be at the same time, at the same place, but you are there. All right, you will set time. Okay, I'm going to facilitate this course every day at 9 a.m. for example. So every day you are going to have a look at what they were discussing and so on. You are going to actually support the discussion, set the climate. For example, one student say, okay, I think this issue is like this, and the other student say, no, I don't think this is correct. So you are going to be the person who support that discourse and highlight what to be done by the students. All right, you are going to be there, okay, virtually, all right, asynchronously and sometimes synchronously. So you are going to identify, okay, what support needed by the students. All right, you don't teach but you support. All right, and then you are going to give that instruction, direct instruction. When I have a chance, actually many chances to view online learning platform, meaning that some of the institution ask me to review what they have in their LMS and see what are the interaction, the important component of ODL and so on. So I have reviewed many institutions. Yeah. So what I saw, yeah, in the LMS, many institutions LMS, I found that direct instruction is not there. All right. Many of the courses has lack of instruction in their LMS. Simple instruction such as please view the video, and then the video, after you have viewed the video, please do the self-learning activities. Some of the course they lack of that. They just put the video, upload the video, put it there, and assuming that the student will understand that they have to watch the video. With videos, you have instruction. Okay, this video is a 5 minutes video, consists of topic 1, focusing on this particular issue. Okay, please watch this video, and okay, the main point will be highlighted at minute 3.2, for example. Okay, be precise so that the students will understand. When I watch the video, okay, I need to focus on this part of the video so that I will be able to answer the self-learning activity. All right. So this direct instruction is always lack in asynchronous instruction in your LMS. All right. So if let's say you ask the student to read something, please, okay, don't just upload the PDF text and then you assume that your students will be able to understand what you want them to do with the PDF. Also, if you have quiz, for example, please do actually put the quiz, what are the instructions, okay? In this quiz, there are 5 questions, 2 multiple choice question, 1 short answer, and another 2 will be matching questions. All right. And you have to read topic 1 to be able to answer all these quiz questions. All right. Please be clear in your instruction. Don't assume that your student will be able to understand what do you expect from them. Okay. And then that was the task of the teaching presence. You are there, you might be there, but it will not be visible in terms of your face, your appearance, but it will be visible. The teaching presence will be visible within your syllabi, your instruction, and so on. Then cognitive presence in COI. All right. The photo in your right side is one of my students' work. Okay. They were doing podcast. All right. So I give them instruction, and then they were doing podcast based on the content because they are pre-service teachers. So they try to use podcast to deliver important points of their topic. All right. So having students self-select topics they are curious about, because in my course, PGT for 36E, we have various different majors of student. We have TESOL student, we have special education student, we have science, maths, and so on. So I always give them a flexibility to choose topics based on what they want to, based on their major, all right, or their minor, but based on what they think they would like to know more. So, and then they are going to present using technology tools, and in this case, using podcast here. All right, so they have to choose, but they are going to present the content so that people will understand what they would like to highlight in that particular topic. All right, and then cognitive presence also include facilitation of critical analyzation discussion. So student will actually discuss and present whatever analysis they have done in particular topics. All right. it is from the student, not from the teachers. Okay, the teachers or the instructor will actually facilitate. Okay, you will actually highlight um, what the student's presentation lack of, but you are going to facilitate, you are going to highlight issues and so on. All right, but everything will come from the students, because to we are going to make them, all right, learn from the engagement. And then creating course rules to allow for open environment for different perspective. All right, sometimes the students, all right, I think when I was a student, I might not, be that bold, but students at the moment, our students, some of them are really bold in terms of, try to prove them right and so on. So you must create course rules, okay, to allow for different perspective. Maybe we have different perspective, but you need to highlight to your student, you need to go back to the um, course content, the topics and so on. All right. And then sharing is caring. Okay, some of the student, like when I was a student, I really remember that sometimes some of my friends, they don't want to share their content because it was exam oriented. So if let's say I share my content with you, you will get number one, I will get number two. So I don't like that. So but now we are encouraging students to share because they are learning. It is because for the sake of learning, sharing is actually caring. Okay, so students need to share. That's why I always use Padlet. I like Padlet very much because I think that, there is where students can share, they can view their friends, what their friends have done. All right, and then I embed the Padlet in USM eLearn at USM, the LMS. All right. And then from what you have actually look at the for example, if you ask your student to select the topics, if they are you try to facilitate discussion and so on. So how you need to think, yeah, how do you design the content, activities and assessment? It goes back to you. Okay, uh, what am I going to do with the content? Right? What are the activities? If we go back to here, all right. So how are you going to do differently based on this? Are you going to start with activity first, or okay? If let's say um I on my WebEx and then the students are in, so what will I do in the first place? Activity or maybe not. I would like to actually choose a student to present something. All right, maybe. Or I'm going to give them a quote and then they are going to do whatever. So you might be uh, uh, doing something, okay, not similar to what you see in the screen. Okay, you might want to actually ask the student to go to breakout rooms, or maybe you might want to ask a student, okay, Azida, okay, today I would like you to do something, which is, okay, I would like you to whatever. Okay, so then you are going to rearrange this type of, maybe give lecture first, activity, and then you are going to release them from the WebEx. Okay, so maybe on the third stage here, number 3, you are going to put it release WebEx, meaning that they are going to go out doing something, and then after 15 minutes, they are going to come back to the WebEx and do something else. So this is your design. Okay, you need to actually look at that on how you design the content, activities, and assessment. And in COI, you have social presence. All right. So this is important because, all right, because we need somebody to support is our loneliness. If we are students, we need our friends to support us. So this is from the previous podcast. All right. So what I did was I asked them to put the podcast they have created, okay, in the Padlet, and then I asked, okay, I need, okay, this is the podcast, and then I need one of after you have put in your podcast, I need you to actually listen to your friends podcast and then give comment. All right. So then when how do you feel if you do something, okay, you post something and then nobody actually comment or give feedbacks on what you did. Okay, sometimes you feel relief, oh mujur lah, tak ada siapa-siapa komen apa-apa, or sometimes alamak, I have done my best to do this but nobody comment, or Dr. Azidah is too busy to listen to my podcast. That's why I asked the friend to actually comment. Okay, at least give 2 comments to each of your friends, or 2 comments to anybody. All right. So and then I can see that many of them, there are various comments and it was really good. That is social present. It is online. You might not see your friends, but they are engaged with the content that you have provided. The students have provided. Okay. So please remember that your students have challenges as well. All right. So they are struggling, especially the semester 1. They have enrolled in the university, but they are still at home. And then, okay, they hope that they have, last time they have PDPR when they were at school, but now they are still learning online. Sometimes, their parents, their families, they are not actually understand what how sometimes the mom complain, ala Ashik, you are always in your room, so please help me, okay, you don't actually help me at home during the house chores and so on, right? Our student might feel lonely, sad and disconnected, and then they have to log in online learning every day 24/7 because they have been burdened by many assignment tasks and so on. All right. So after you have designed and all that, you also, the task of you to prepare your student to be self-directed learners. Yeah, you are the one to uh, that need to remind your students to prepare in ODS environment. All right. So the need is you need to guide your student on the first meeting. So if let's say next week is your first class, please do guide your students on the first meeting. All right. So tell your student, okay, you need to communicate with me. All right. Don't just be silenced behind the computer. I don't know what is your experience and so on. So during your first class, tell your students, communicate with me. All right. If you are going to learn, prepare your learning space. All right. So you need to find a space. Although your home might not be, you don't have a space, individual space at your home. Just prepare one part of the house to for your learning space. All right. And then tell your students, you need to establish a routine. All right. My class, you need to look at my class at this time, and then the other lecturers class when. All right. Establish a routine, time management, and then ask the student to regularly log in your LMS and utilize all the resources provided, and they will be okay. All right, so these need to be actually delivered to your students. All right, and then when you establish a routine with your student, all right, so the students will be able to know what is expected of them. All right, so you need an introduction. How do you introduce the material? Okay, and then you need to respond to student message. Please don't be silenced to your student. All right, need I think that it is really important. Sometimes I always forget. I do forget about that, because I have like now I'm with you for 2 hours. I'm speaking and I have no time to answer the WhatsApp, for example, and sometimes I do forget to answer students' message, but I will review back. Oh, okay, I have actually forget about this student message, and I will respond to the student. All right, so please do actually respond. Maybe within 24 hours, tell the students. Okay, I will try to answer your message within 24 hours. All right, and then please give clarification to your students. All right, so maybe create a mini lecture, maybe just create a simple video saying hi to your student. All right, or create a mini lecture. Okay, we are going to learn about this, so you need to focus on this. Just a mini lecture, 5 minutes video, okay, or online meetings that can clarify common points of confusion of your students. All right, and then as I mentioned earlier, create clear instruction for all assignments, for all quizzes, and it is recommended that you have grading rubrics. All right, sometimes because I have this one class that I have more than 100 students, I provide grading rubrics that I give to students, and they are going to use the rubrics either to evaluate themselves, or they are going to do peer feedbacks using that rubrics. Okay, then from their rubrics I will actually review, and then I'll select. Okay, I will select and then give rubrics again to the students. All right, so it won't burden me that much compared to I have to actually evaluate all 100 plus students. All right, and then provide feedbacks in the discussion board or in your LMS, and then you need to preview, set the stage for the next module. So always be prepared. All right, so tell your students also we have synchronous online class. Okay, so it will happen real time next week at 9 a.m. All right, okay, during synchronous I will take attendance. Okay, you can see that. All right, and then you need to be punctual, you need to be ready, and please do interact with me or your friends using the chat box in the WebEx, for example. And then we have asynchronous class. So I'm going to prepare you the video. Okay, please watch the video. All right, you can watch the video anytime you like within 1 week, for example. So please do set deadlines. Don't just put the video without setting the deadlines. And then I'm going to look at your participation. All right, in the LMS it will be ticked when you have viewed the video and do the self-assessment. Okay, and then you need to actually have time management so that you will be able to view all the content and assessment provided. So please give instruction for that and tell your students about that. All right, and then please let your students know in synchronous learning, you need to be like this. Be on time, look for suitable place. All right, if you have tabs in your computer, for example, okay, close the YouTube tab, close the game tab. All right, and then try to be away from distraction, TV, for example, or other distraction. Okay, your siblings, your younger siblings, and so on. All right, and then schedule for your assignment and so on. So you need to actually establish this and tell your student about this. All right, and then in asynchronous, okay, you learn at your own pace, but I have deadlines for that. Manage your time. All right, okay, don't actually sit in front of your computer with intention to look at the asynchronous, and you end up with watching a Korean movie, for example. Okay, so remind your students. So let your student know what are the important things they need to do, whether it is synchronous or asynchronous. Okay. And then making your online instruction as active and dynamic as it was face to face. So it is important for you to remember that creating online instruction involves two key elements: your course design. All right, you need to design, you need to plan, you need to actually look at all the activities, okay, in face to face, but transform it into something new or something can engage your students. All right, based on the topics. And also look at the student interaction, how to do student interaction and engage them during the course delivery online. Okay, so these are the course design. You need to be consistently present in the course, all right, because maybe you are not always do the synchronous teaching, but you are there. You are there. The student will know, okay, Dr. Azida, although I cannot see her every week, but I know she always actually commented. She always remind me about, the due dates. Okay, she always support. Okay, you need to do this and that. Consistently present in the course, not synchronously. You can be present asynchronously. Okay, maintain open communication. All right, use videos and other interactive activities. All right, and then try to actually design so that you can cover everything. All right, and then please, I know that some of the lecturers, they like to use different ways of online teaching. They don't like to use the formal LMS by the institution. You can do that, but I think that for me, I would like to encourage use of LMS. Okay, because the student will know, okay, when I log in, I will know this course, Dr. Azida's course is like this, Dr. Ahmad course is like this. So they are in one place that they can consider as the university. All right, and then offer a balance between synchronous and asynchronous activity. Not too much of synchronous, okay, because you might be burdening the students because of their internet and so on. All right. So in USM, the students said they don't like 100% online learning. Okay, from the survey that I mentioned earlier, they like blended learning. All right, but in our case now, we have to do the online learning, but we have to do it effectively. So the most important thing, all right, of your skill as instructor, you need to be able to plan your delivery, and then by in planning, you need to do a need analysis of your student. Okay, set clear objective, incorporate visual, audio, and so on. All right, visual and more visuals. All right, and then video, infographics, and so on. Keep teaching module short. Okay, more activities by the students. All right, clear structure, and remember student centered. Okay, and then while you are delivering online teaching and learning, okay, you need to create content. Don't actually look for YouTube's similar contents, because what happens if you are using YouTube's video from other instructors all the time? All right, the sense of belonging to your course is not there. All right, you need to create the sense of belonging. Oh, this is class Dr. Azida's class. Okay, I like her class because I always see her asynchronously. She prepare video, she prepare activity, even the instruction. She use podcast, so I can hear her voice in the class, although it is synchronous class. Establish remote learning routine, create positive learning environment. So, the student will have a sense of belonging, although you are not there. All right. So it is a positive learning environment. Be available, be creative, and then leverage existing online resources. OER, for example, you can use OER in your class. All right. So let your students know everything that I have mentioned earlier. Okay, they need to have uh, uh, um, learning management, okay, how time management, all right, and then ensure no distraction and so on. Okay, finally, all right, so you as educators, as instructors, need to have skills and competencies to blend teaching strategies. Okay, not students will come to your class, online class, with they say, okay, Dr. Azida, I know already what she is going to do in the class. Okay, so be unexpected instructors online, so your student, they can't wait, okay, what will Dr. Azida do next week? Okay, I can't wait. Okay, it is interesting to know, to actually be in her class, because she will be using different methods. All right, and then your methods, your teaching strategy should be able to motivate and engage today. And you need to actually evaluate, reflect, and revise. Okay, if let's say this is the first week, then what have you done during the first week, and what you can improve for the next week? Okay, so this is to make your online class dynamic. Don't repeat the boring class. Okay, it is not wrong to actually not success in your online class. Okay, yeah, sometimes it won't be as smooth as we expected, but it is a learning process. Okay, we might not be doing perfect online class, but we try to engage our students. All right, and delivering an effective online course is an art. All right, take the time before you start to determine your goal, course content, okay, what activities that will work best in your online course. This is not easy, yeah? This is not easy, but don't be afraid to try something new. Okay, salah tak apa. Alright, yeah, we do that. Salah tak apa, but actually it will help to engage our students. Alright. So with that, thank you very much. Okay, this is my email, azida@usm.my or azidazidin@gmail.com. Thank you. Back to you, Dr. Gita.
Thank you, Prof, for that informative and enlightening talk. It's interesting to know that online learning is going to be a permanent feature of teaching and learning, and it's here to stay. As you had suggested, there's a need to identify synchronous and asynchronous lessons in our weekly scheme of work. And it's important not to burden ourselves, not only the students, we have to think about ourselves too, uh, and to provide active learning opportunities as well as timely feedback. I found this was very interesting, that the reflections done by students at the end of every class would not only help the students to know what they have learned or to realize what they have learned. Sometimes they get um, too engaged in the lesson, that they don't realize what they have learned. But it's also for the instructor to know how well the lesson was received and what to improve or where to improve. Yeah, and I also like the idea of establishing the community of inquiry, the social, cognitive, and teaching presence. Right, definitely a very inspiring and useful talk for this coming semester, as most of us would be embarking on our new semester in a week's time, or somewhere around this month. Prof, we have some questions from our live audience in YouTube. The first question is from Dr. Siti Maftuha Damyo. She asked, online classes, which includes multitasking, multi-screen, multi-activities, multi-focus. Many are doing these, and how can we address this to enhance our online learning or teaching?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gita. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So multitasking, multi-screen, multi-activities, multi-focus. Okay. Many are doing this. How can we address? Okay. All right. So one thing first. All right. So if let's say we are teaching a topic, yeah. Okay. This week, for example. All right. So multi-screen, multitasking for students, for us, okay. In teaching, for me, I cannot do that. If I'm teaching, all right, usually I don't multitasking. I don't do multi-screen, okay. But I do actually provide my multi activities, all right, to my students. As I share with you all just now, okay, we can actually do multi activities to our students. Okay, maybe the activities provided from us, or we can actually ask our student to suggest activities that they can provide to the class. All right, so if let's say you are going to do multi activities, you can actually plan for that. Right, for example, next week you are going to conduct a topic, but this week you are going to give instruction to students. I would like you all to provide, okay, to suggest activities for next week, what you would like to do, okay, based on this topic. I will provide you with content. All right, from this you are going to provide activities. We can do that, but in teaching and learning in our online class, I don't actually recommend you do multitasking, you do multi-screen and so on. But we do find this, like I always do this. Okay, guilty, I'm guilty with that, of for doing that in my meetings and so on, but not in my teaching, right? Not in my teaching. Okay, that's my answer. Thank you.
All right. We'll take the second question from Amy Zakaria. Um, she said she'd really appreciate if you could share successful strategies for mobile learning.
Okay, all right. So, mobile learning. Yeah, actually, I have done this because I'm into online teaching. So before pandemic, I actually already use Zoom. Okay, I already subscribed to Zoom for my online learning, my mobile learning. Why? Because I always here and there. I always travel. At that time, we don't do trainings online. We do trainings in the institution, right? So what happened was and I have heavy teaching load. Yeah, I have heavy teaching load because I love teaching. I love teaching. Although I'm doing admin position, I am a trainer, I still have heavy loads of teaching. So I conduct my class remotely. All right, remotely, whereby in mobile learning, for example, what I did was, I think that this was a very successful class whereby the students still remember until now. What happened was, I used WhatsApp, only WhatsApp, and then my class was at 5 p.m. At that time, I was in Unit 10 meeting. All right. So I was in KL, and then my students are in Penang. So what happened was, at 3 p.m., I sent a message to them. I would like to do collaborative learning in that particular class. Okay, it was a master class. So I said, all right, at 3 p.m., I give instruction. Please, at 5 p.m., I would like you all to share your live location using WhatsApp. All right, everybody need to share their live location. Why? Because later on at 5, I'm giving you another instruction. All right, so at 5, everybody share their live location. All right, so they were excited. What will Dr. Azidah do with our live location? Okay, so then after that, at 5, I say, okay, I will check. Okay, everybody at their home. I don't want you to go to USM. You are not allowed to go to USM because I would like you to see you all at home, or at different places. All right. So, and then I give them instruction. Okay, I say, okay, I already on our LMS. Please log in the LMS. There are instruction in the LMS. that you need to follow. So the instruction was you need to discuss this, okay, collaboratively
I think
from
we
your
have
home. Okay,
lost the. Yeah. Okay.
all right. Then you do the activity. At 8 p.m., you are going to discuss using different methods. So that we were using Zoom at that time, so it was not familiar to the students. So I think that, the reflection from the student was, when first, they were excited using WhatsApp, and then they would have to discuss within certain time, and then they have to use different teaching and learning tools, all right, to present at 8 p.m. All right. At the end, what happened was, the students that we have a seminar of teaching and learning USM. I remember it was in 2018. The student came to that session with 500 attendees. Yeah, and the student said to the people in the hall, he said, we remember how the Azidah did the mobile learning strategy. Okay, it helps us to be active in the class. Okay, she was not there, but we actually understand the class so much that, we got an A. We can remember what actually we had done during the exam. Everybody got an A because during that topic we know what we have done. We remember all the topics because we did the activities. All right. So meaning that, the activities shouldn't be that complicated actually. All right. But the activity should engage, and the student need to respond. Even if it is online learning ke, mobile learning ke, it can be done. All right. So thank you.
Okay. So I guess it was a very meaningful activity. That's why they can remember it, even
Yes.
much later. Yeah. Okay. The third question is from Nur Afzan Zakaria. How to conduct ODL for co-curriculum subject with 1 hour, 1 credit hour? Any tips to make students happy? That's the question.
Okay. All right. So because it is only one credit, okay, one credit, but and it is co-curriculum. Okay. I think that there are various co-curriculum subjects. In USM we have the tari menari lah, we have the many co-curriculum subject. All right. So I think that, if let's say it is only one credit, you give specific task to the student. All right. Give specific task to the student. So uh, ask them to be creative, because, let's say if we are going to provide the task to the students, it will be, we have to think. Okay, we are the only one who have to think what they have to do. But give the task to the student, but ask them to present it to us differently. Okay, differently, and present it differently. So you will be having actually different types of activities of curriculum, and it won't be similar to each of the students. All right. So don't actually kata okay, you gonna do like this, you must do like this, you must do like that. No. Just give a very flexible instruction to the student, but they must come out with their own activities of the curriculum. Okay, so it is much more better for you to make it much more flexible because it is curriculum, but instruction must be precise lah. How much flexibility that you are going to expect from the students, and you must give some examples that they can actually get ideas from that. All right, so I think that would be good for co-curriculum. Gives a little bit of flexibility to the students to present and so on. All right.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Dr. Tutiani. Most challenging part is when students feel tired and restless due to the active learning and continuous activities. So she said, appreciate if doctor could share an effective strategies on how to reduce students' cognitive load at the same time maintain the engagement.
All right. So I would like to go back to the activity that I showed earlier from Prof. Karim. All right, when you actually divide the activities toward different, you have lectures, a small 15 minutes of lectures, and then student activities, and then you give another activities and so on, you won't be actually have the student give the student with cognitive loads, meaning that you will reduce the cognitive loads of students. All right. Yes, for example, you have 2 hours of class. If let's say you give one activity too much time, or you give lectures too much time, then the cognitive load will actually not reduce. You are going to bebankan the students with a lot of cognitive activities. Yeah. All right. So you must also look at activities whereby maybe some very serious activities that the student need to think, need to do, to use their cognitive abilities, and you might want to actually also focus on activities with lots of fun. Okay, lots of fun but meaningful. All right, not for them to always think, but with fun learning, with active learning, gamification, it will actually help to reduce their cognitive load. So I think that variety of activities but not too long. Okay, not too long. So if you think that your student already tired, and you have been burdening them with cognitive load, then please do stop. All right, you don't have to continue, and because you are the boss in the class, you are going to actually design that, so you can actually, when you think that your students are tired, so please stop. You don't have to continue, and then yeah, it will be okay. All right, so I think you need to design. The first thing is design, and then try to engage your student. If let's say you think it is burdening the student, then you can actually try to do something else. Give them some rest, and then you might do gamification, or whatever teaching, much more fun teaching and learning activities. Yeah.
Okay, this is actually interesting, Prof. Karim's model that you shared with us. The alternating the lecture and activities like 10 minutes and 15 minutes apart. It's something similar to the rule of computer ergonomics, right? The 20-20-20-20. Like,
Yeah.
you don't spend too much time looking at the screen. You are also busy doing other things, like, away from the screen and then coming back to the screen. I think that's a very interesting thing. Right, we have one last question here from Zuraimi. Using breakup sessions to facilitate small group discussion is an excellent idea, but using WebEx for breakup sessions uses a lot of data, and we know that students have this problem with data. Any alternative platform for smooth discussion activities, Prof?
All right. Okay, yeah, that is interesting. When you use WebEx, it will using our breakout session in WebEx will help actually in synchronous class. All right. However, if let's say your students are not having good internet connectivity, then it won't be good, because they will be lacking of discussion. They cannot discuss with your friends. So if let's say you found that in your online class, why not you don't do that? All right, it won't actually engage your students. So you have alternative types of discussion. For example, you can use Google Drive, for example, Google Docs, for example. Yeah, they can discuss using Google Slide. Okay, it won't use their data too much, meaning that they can actually discuss within the document. They can actually use a text based discussion. So there are many types of synchronous chat discussion. Even you can actually give them a flexibility in terms of, you can discuss in whatever platform that you want. Okay, maybe they can discuss WhatsApp. Why not? But then they need to come back to the WebEx session. where they can discuss in the whole for the whole class. But for their own group, they can actually be flexible in terms of discussing all the required activity in the class. So don't be too rigid in terms of giving instruction and providing platforms to your student. Give them much more flexibility, because we know that our students, they might not have the good internet connection in their home and so on. So yeah, I think that giving them much more flexibility in terms of how to do group works will be much better compared to you just strictly ask them, okay, you need to discuss in the breakout session. All right, there are much more alternative to WebEx breakout sessions. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Um, for the detailed and informative explanation. Actually, I'm sure many of us appreciate this sharing session, because we are coming to the fourth semester into ODL.
Yeah.
So definitely people instructors would like to try something new and more dynamic, more engaging. And this is definitely very timely talk, so everyone could make use of it. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our webinar. The attendance link is shared on YouTube live comment section for you to fill in and submit. And on behalf of the organizing committee and the Faculty of Education UITM, I'd like to say thanks again to our profound guest speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Azida Abu Zidid, for that informative, inspiring, and interesting talk. And thanks to everyone for joining us in today's session. I'd also like to thank our participants from international universities who have joined this webinar. Hopefully, all the information and knowledge shared will be beneficial for everyone. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for attending, and please stay safe. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Gita.
Okay, thank you, Prof.